Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Paddock Talk here on the Apex Motorsport. We're here at Oulton Park for round 7 and 8 of the 2021 British GT Championship. We just had qualifying. It's been a very busy day with 2 practice sessions this morning, with qualifying for both GT3 and GT4 taking place just a short time ago when we're recording this. I'm going to walk you down the pit lane to tell you how each team done. We're going to start here with the Mercedes teams of Ram Racing. They actually have 2 entries this time. The number 6 of Ian Logie and Yelmer Berman. They're going to start race 1 in 9th. Ian Logie will be on board for that. And for race 2, they're going to be starting in 4th place. Good opportunity for them to pick up some points this weekend. But beside it is a car that you probably haven't seen before. It's the number 88 Mercedes, also of Ram Racing. Kevin Say and Tom Cole. Well, they're the drivers for this weekend. You don't, as I said, you don't usually see this because they're a GT Europe team, but they've come here and been very impressive with Kevin Say qualified in 2nd place, front row start for him, which I'm sure they'll be very happy about. And in race 2 they will be starting in 7th place. Now we go on to the Balf Motorsport, a team that has both a GT4 and a GT3 entry. We're going to start with the GT4 entry here. Both of them are McLarens, both of them are very nice. This one's even got a lights on for us. This is the number 90 driven by Jack Brown and Ashley Marshall. For race 1, Ashley Marshall was able to qualify for 8th place. He'll be starting that race, and for race 2 they'll be starting in 11th. And now the GT3 car of Balf Motorsport, the number 5 with Stuart and Lewis Proctor. They'll be starting in 11th, and in race 2 they'll be started in 9th. Now we've got an empty garage before we go on to another empty garage, but this time the shutters open, and this is the Beesteen AMR Aston Martin Vantage. Now, as you can see over here, the carriage is empty because Andrew Howard had a massive crash of shell during qualifying, which meant that Johnny Adam, his teammate, wasn't able to get out, and I think they're going to try and get the spare car out for tomorrow, but it's going to be difficult, and it'll be a real shame if they don't get racing. Andrew Howard did qualify in 4th place, so if they do get out, they'll have a good start there, and they'll be starting probably at 11th, which is bottom of the GT3 grid. If they do manage to race, that'll be in race 2. Then we go on to the number 40 Fox Motorsport McLaren. We have a lot of McLarens here today, but this is all but 2 cars so far have been McLarens. But this car is very nice as well. It's a 720S GT4 of Nick Halstead and Jamie Stanley. For race 1, they're going to start in 13th, that's where they qualified, and for race 2 it's 13th as well. Although Halstead did have a big crash in quali, but luckily he did return to the paddock a short time ago, and by the looks of the car there is some damage to the front left, so hopefully they should get out tomorrow. They should. But then this car, I've always said it, it's one of my favourites. It is the Bentley. It is a Paddock Motorsport number 11 of Kelvin Fletcher and Martin Plowman, and Kelvin Fletcher put an outstanding lap in Q1 for GT3, which means they're going to be starting the first race on pole position. For race 2, they're going to be starting in 6th place, so definitely a good opportunity for them to pick up some points this weekend. Obviously the way this the sprint race works is that the AMP drivers who set their times in Q1 rather, get all this GT, GT3, GT4, GB3, it's getting so confusing. They're in GB4 next year as well. But they'll be starting race 1 in 1st place, race 2 in 6th place. It'll be Kelvin Fletcher will be starting the race, Martin Plowman getting over, and then they'll switch over for race 2. Then we have a car another car I completely forgot last week because the garage was shut, they didn't have a banner up. It's the Sicily Motorsport Mercedes GT4 car. It is the number 25 of Dave Whitmore and Jake Giddings. They'll be starting race 2 from 12th place, and for the second race they'll be starting in 7th. And beside it we've got a very dusty looking car. It is one of the nicest liveries of the grid. I say that every time. It is the Newbridge Motorsport Aston Martin Vantage AMR GT4 car of Matt Toppin and Darren Turner, and they will be starting both races on pole position. It's a lovely car and it's great to see it at the front of the grid. I still think it's one of the best liveries on the grid, and let us know in the comment section below what your favourite livery is, because I think it'll take a lot to beat that. Then we go on to an Audi of Stellar Motorsport, the Audi R8. The number 42 car is the GT4. Richard Williams and Sean Fielding are the drivers for this, and they're going to be starting both races in 4th place. But Sean Fielding hit the Druids tyre wall at the end of FP2, so they've done well to get the car back in that condition, and it looks ready to go for the race tomorrow. Then we move on to the Ginetta car. This is the Assetto Motorsport. The number 56 car are Mark Sampson and Charlie Robertson. Race 1 will be starting in 11th place. But for race 2, they'll be starting in third. It's definitely a good opportunity for them to pick up a podium in this race. And then we're going to move on to a team that is actually returning this weekend. It is the Mercedes AMG GT3 of Team ABBA Racing. It's a matte black livery this week, but it's great to see them back. They obviously missed Donington due to extensive damage they had in the car previously. But this is number 8 of Richard and Sam Neary. Race 1 they're starting in 6th, race 2 they're starting in 10th. And we'll move on now to the McLarens. Liam Wachowski walks past us, the Barwell Motorsport. They're right at the end of the paddock. We'll get on to them in a little minute. But there's 3 rocket cars, 3 McLarens, and 2 of them have their original chassis back this weekend, which is great to see. They had alternative liveries on last time because it was the spare cars. But the number 2 of James Kell and Jamie Collard, race 1 starting 9th, race 2 they're starting 8th. The number 3 car of Alan Volante and Michael Binyaya, race 1 they're starting in 5th, race 2 they're starting in 9th. And then finally the number 4 car of Harry Hayek and Katie Milner starting in 6th, and then race 2 starting in 8th. Then we move on to the Academy Motorsport, the number 61 of Will Moore and Matt Cowley. Race winners last time out at Snetterton. This isn't in fact the actual car, because this looks to be the spare car because it's got the number 62 on it. We seen last time when we were at Snetterton that there's a couple of different come over this way. The actual Academy Motorsport car is sitting over here. That is their spare car. The actual Mustang is here. In between them is the Team Park Porsche 911 GT3 car. It's quite nice. This of course is the actual Ford Mustang that they're racing. That looks like the spare car. Well, I can move the Academy Motorsport. They're starting race 1 from 3rd and race 2 from 6th. And then the Porsche of the Team Parker Racing starting race 1 from 10th. And then for race 2, they're starting pole position. So definitely a contrasting qualifying session for them. But I'm sure they'll be happy with the pole position and an opportunity to win some big points. We can then move on to a McLaren of the number 77 Enduro Motorsport. This car is Morgan Tilbrook and Marcus Cluttons. Race 3 they're going to be starting in 3rd place, and for race 2 they're going to be starting in 5th. So they're just cleaning up the car because it's a pretty busy day for them. The 3 sessions of running, and yeah, the car needs to look its best for the grid tomorrow. Then we move on to the Toyota Gazoo team, the Supra, the number 15 GT4 as well. They've actually got a new driver in with them this week, Jamie Caroline, the reigning British GT4 champion. He's replaced Scott McKenna, who's out for personal reasons this weekend. John Ferguson stays with the team as usual. They'll be starting race 1 from 10th, and from race 2 they'll be starting in 2nd. So I think they'll be definitely really happy with that, given their driver light. But Jamie Caroline is a fantastic driver, and he's proved that this weekend with only limited time in the car. Then it's number 18, WPA Motorsport. It's the Lamborghini of Michael Igo and Phil King. Race 1 starting in 5th place. Race 2 they're going to be starting from 8th. And like most of the teams, they're just cleaning up the car. The front's coming off the car. It's great to see. And then we have the Century Motorsport teams, the BMWs. These ones, there's Century Motorsport team. The number 9, yes, this is the number 9 of Chris Sulkhead and Andrew Gordon Colebrook. Race 1 they're going to be starting from 7th, race 2 they're going to be starting from 10th, and then the 57, this is the car that can actually go and win the championship this weekend. It's probably the most, well, it's likely they're going to win. It's definitely not a given because anything can happen in racing, but the 57 of Will Burns and Gus Burton, they have a great chance to win this title with a front row start with 2nd place in race 1, and for race 2 they're going to be starting in 5th, but they can definitely fight their way through the pack. And then move on to the champion and the champion-elect, possibly. The number 1 car of Barwell Motorsports, the Lamborghini of Adam Ballon and Sandy Mitchell. This is the car to the right. Race 1 they're going to be starting in 7th, race 2 they're going to be starting in 3rd. But then this car, the number 63, has a slim chance to win the title this weekend. It's Leo Machiskis and Dennis Linds. They're going to find it difficult because race 2 they're going to be starting 2nd, but race 1 they're going to be starting in 8th. It's definitely another contrasting session for them, but there's a big reason for that, and that's because the number 63 had a big crash in FP1, wasn't able to get out for FP2, deep cosmetic damage the team put it down to, and they also had to really show the team's teamwork because the number 1 car had an engine change They said that they weren't going to be out for FP2, but they managed to get out for about the last 5 minutes, which was great to see, but they really struggled for time, and we don't really know how much an impact that will have on them this weekend. But that is going to round out this Paddock talk here at Oulton Park, the end of qualifying. Race tomorrow, 2 races, the sprint race format. Should be exciting. The grid for one race is completely different for race 2, which is going to be very good. And that is of course the third last and the penultimate race of the season before they go back to Donington for the end of the season special. So that's going to round out this Paddock talk, and we hope to join us for the rest of the weekend on the content here on Apex Motorsport. Goodbye.